Good morning, everyone. Ragewood here, back with another Godforge video. It's been a while since we've said good morning, but there we go. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the Fateless vid that dropped earlier this week. Now, I want to apologise for delaying getting this one out, but shockingly, last night after the pub quiz, I managed to get lost in the pub and just could not escape until the early hours. I'm sure a few of you have had that trouble as well. So, without further ado, let's jump into the vid. So, as I often do with some of these videos, I will leave the link to it in the description down below so you can go watch it yourself. There's a few points that I just want to touch on in this one, where actually they're going to be covering over some more details about the beta itself, because let's be honest, that's the one thing that we are all super excited for now. And it's weird to think that sort of it's been over, what, a year, maybe 18 months we've been waiting now. We've only got a few more months left to go, so yeah, just coming around the corner now. So to begin with, Simon's just talking about his journey and the journey of Fateless. It is quite a nice video to watch. I do recommend you go watch it in its entirety. But we're not going to be doing that in this one. We are here to look at some specific details. So I'm going to jump through the video to the points that I want to show you and offer my feedback on it.
We've got a launcher which works on PC and Mac, and then we've also got an Android build. So we're getting ourselves really ready for that beta where we can actually pass beta keys out to a really large number of players and say, right, you guys, we want you to hard test this particular experience in the game, whether it's like a new player experience or whether it's, we're giving you a stacked account and see what the end game feels like. I guess something we don't talk about.
So there you go. So this is something that we might have covered before. I can't remember. And if you're in the Discord or kept up with the Fateless videos, it's definitely been mentioned at some point. But when the beta does roll around, not everyone is going to have the same experience to begin with. There's going to be some people that are going to be doing the new player experience. So, get your first hero, whoever that is, or whether we get to choose like Raid, and just go through sort of those beginning stages just to get a feel for what it's like. Then conversely, you're also going to have people who, as you said, are going to have a stacked account with all the heroes, all the gear, I imagine, all that kind of stuff. And then they're going to see, right, go do the endgame boss, go do this, go break it, kind of thing. Now, if I had to choose, it's, in an ideal world, you'd love the stacked account if you would. But for me personally, I don't know if I would enjoy that, because whilst I've played a lot of games like this, I won't know all of the nuances on the dungeons and, the characters and the builds and all that kind of stuff. So for me personally, I think actually I'd benefit more from that sort of new player experience. So let me know in the comments down below what you would prefer to do.
Let's talk about what to expect from our closed beta at the end of Q1. This is what we're working towards. 100 playable heroes. Most games in this genre do not even launch with 100 playable heroes, by the way. We're looking.
So that's interesting, because in a graphic they showed the other day in a previous video, I'll try and bring that up now, sort of, as we're talking over the top. I could have sworn that they were aiming for 150. But again, if you keep up with the videos, and mine too, you recently sort of would have realised that they had to sort of pause on quite a few things, okay, and go back a few steps to work on the sort of things at a foundation level to improve the pipelines to then allow them to be able to move faster forward in the future. Now, whether that has had an effect on it, and that's why we are down to 100 heroes, or as Simon used to be a salesman and so on, who also was a salesman for 10 years, whether he's going for that sort of under-promise, over-deliver approach as well, that could also be sort of part of it, if you will. But it's interesting that they've reduced that number, and I say it's probably likely due to the recent changes that they made.
100 playable heroes across 5 factions out of the 10 that we're going to go for full launch with. We're going to have...
Now, those 5 factions, I would guess the ones that are fleshed out the most at the moment. That would be Aru, Avalon, Olympus, Asgard, and I wonder who the 5th would be. 2 seconds. It's interesting, actually. So, for those of you who don't know, I have now launched my website. It is a work in progress, and I am doing it on my own, so to bear with me on that front. But also, if you see anything wrong, let me know. But going through the factions before I mentioned are very sort of fleshed out, and we do have a lot of heroes. Now, some of them have just been spoiled by name, so I don't actually have pictures for them yet. Others we do have portraits or spoilers from various videos. But everything, all the other ones, only have a couple of heroes in them. So it'd be interesting to see what that 5th one is. You would think maybe Kojiki, because we've seen a lot of Musashi. But yeah, there's only 3 or 4 for everything else. So definitely going to be interesting to see what the 5th faction is.
A normal campaign experience. So basically your entry-level campaign. 8 different dungeons. Pretty much the dungeons which are focused on enhancing a hero's levels, skills, abilities, and 8 dungeons with different bosses in. We're going to have...
Now, something I'd like to draw on. I mean, 8 dungeons is amazing, by the way, especially for the beta launch. And I think they were only planning on having like 10 for the full game anyway, so they're going to basically be there. But one thing he said they're mentioning, it's going to be about enhancing the sort of player experience, the hero experience, and all aspects of leveling up your hero, including skills and abilities. Now, that is a big one because it sort of implies that there's going to be a way to farm skill scrolls, skill tomes, whatever, wording they're using for that. And it leads me back to something I saw someone else say. I can't remember for the life of me who said it. But maybe the treasure golem isn't just going to be farming one item. Maybe it's a case of you go to the treasure golem to farm your experience and your gold, but there's also the chance that the treasure golem drops these skill scrolls. Maybe he drops the occasional shard, that sort of thing. So, interesting to see how they sort of play that. I personally didn't think there was going to be a skill scroll dungeon, but it will be a pleasant surprise for a lot of the players if they do decide to go down that route.
All of the features around developing your heroes, so promoting them, ascending them, awakening them, masteries, ability upgrades, and then, I mean, the core to any game like this is hero summoning. That will also be in the closed beta. Around the same sort of time, we're looking to launch almost like a early adopter type of pack, which you guys could be involved in if you want to. It will involve basically a pre-purchase of cool stuff, honestly. We're working on an art book. We're working on some like cool kind of things for you to personally collect and keep in your home. But then also there will be things for the game for when the game launches as kind of like an early bird, thank you very much for being involved type of gesture. So look, I just really...
That's cool. Is that personally, I'm hoping for a Fateless calendar. We can have Simon in January, Sham in Feb, etc., etc. Doesn't have to be Sports Illustrated. Can be the cars. But I do love this sort of angle that they're going at. Now, something they mentioned in the video, which I skipped, is that a lot of the funds have been raised by angel investors. Now, I've only heard that term from sort of property development, if you will, so to speak, where someone will give you a certain money to buy the house, do the house up, sell it on, and they take a cut of your profit, or you promise them like 10% on top of their investment, something like that. But doing this does 2 things. It generates more funds for Fateless, because essentially this is going to be a money sink, this game development to begin with. So it benefits them. But it's also just a nice thing for us as the community. You know, if it's a mug, if it's like an art book, that'd be pretty cool. And you get some like codes for, I don't know, 10 summons when the game does launch. You know, as you said, it's a thank you sort of for becoming sort of an early sort of partaker in the game, and it pleases both parties. You know, I see there's no negative to that in my eyes. Yes, they're going to make a little bit of profit on whatever it is they offer. I mean, game codes cost nothing themselves either, but that's the idea. You know, they're a business ultimately, it's not a charity. So, but I still think it's a great idea and something that I personally will be investing in when the opportunity arises. And that is it, guys. So, short and sweet video today. Thank you for watching. As always, take care, look after yourselves, work hard, but play harder. And I'll see you in another video soon. Cheers.